All right, YouTube, what's going on? Welcome back to another video. Today we are looking at some of the hottest Pokemon cards of the week because we do have a brand new movers and shakers list. And to be honest, this week's list is pretty weak and honestly, it looks a little bit lazy by TCG players. So I've actually thrown in a couple of bonus cards to look out for this week that have absolutely skyrocketed in price. So I hope that that helps kind of make up for the lack of cards on this list. And the reason I say this is because that this list predominantly talks about Prismatic Evolutions, which again, we know is so popular right now, but nearly impossible to get. So it feels like they're just using Prismatic Evolutions as a shortcut to make the list for this week. I know they use data to support it, but I feel like it's not really worth talking about until product is actually available everywhere and more people can get their hands on it. But with that said, nonetheless, thank you guys so much for the support on the channel lately. Congratulations to the giveaway winner as well. That has now been announced, but we will be doing a brand new giveaway very soon. So if you guys are brand new to the channel, make sure to subscribe because we are doing another giveaway when we hit 3,000 subscribers for anyone that is a part of the channel. With that said, like this video if you enjoy it, and let's jump into these cards this week. So the article starts off by talking about the two major hits from Surging Sparks and Prismatic Evolutions, which are, of course, the Pikachu and the Umbreon. These two cards, again, not really making too much movement up or down either way, but they do mention the fact that a few of the hits in Prismatic Evolutions are dropping. So the Sylveon Master Ball, $86, the Glaceon Master Ball at $65, and the Pikachu Hyper Rare at $87. Again, there were some kind of crazy prices for these floating around before the set released and sort of right upon release, but they're kind of starting to drop right down now. But the first card they talk about in this list is actually the Edge SIR, which is up to $220 currently. So this actually released lower. So it released at $148 and has risen to $220 because I think people are starting to realize that these SIRs that are non-trainer SIRs are a lot harder to pull. So this is the first card that's kind of featured, growing by a pretty decent percentage there in just a couple of weeks. So that is the first card on their list today. The second card on their list, again, another SIR from Prismatic, is the Dragapult. This one started off as an $80 card and has grown to a $166 card. So again, over 100% gain on this one. I don't mind the artwork on this card. Again, if I was going to pick between the two, the Edge would probably be my choice out of the two. I think it's a lot nicer than the Dragapult, but again, it depends on your preference in art style as well as what you like for your cards. The next one on the list, no surprise realistically, is the Raging Bolt. We know the Raging Bolt that's inside Temporal Forces does fetch a pretty penny. So I'm not surprised that this one does as well. I actually have this in the Japanese version. I got it out of Terrestrial Festivals. But again, this one started at 80 or went to as low as $89. Started at 100, dropped a little bit inside the first week to 89, and is now back up around $116. So a little bit of gain on this one, not too much. But again, I think this is a cool artwork. I really like this, and I prefer that over the Dragapult too, because yeah, it just looks really, really cool to me. They do actually mention one of the evolutions in this list, which is the Flareon, making big gains. And honestly, I like to see this because I grew up with Gen 1, so Flareon I really like. Same with Vaporeon and Jolteon, and I think they were really not getting enough love in the beginning of Prismatic. Everyone was focused on the Umbreon and the Sylveon and the Glaceon, so it's cool to see the Gen 1 evolutions actually getting some love. This one was around 220 at the launch of Prismatic and is now sitting at 322. So again, $100 increase for the Flareon, which is a really, really strong move. Anyone that sort of had this early on that hang on to it, it hasn't taken long for this to rise. So it'll be interesting to see if it continues to rise and sort of come up there with those bigger SIRs like your Sylveons. Obviously, it's not going to reach Umbreon status, but, you know, like your Sylveons and those kind of ones, maybe even catch, you know, Glaceon or Espeon or some of those ones there. But it's cool to see the Flareon making moves. I'd be interested to see if Vaporeon and Jolteon start to make moves up next. The next one on the list, finally getting away from Prismatic, we're looking at the Houndour Illustration Rare. This one was, you know, up until like a week ago, a $4 card. has now spiked to $12.50. It was even as high as $14.30 at one point. So I really like this card. And again, it's probably off the back of the Houndoom from Shrouded Fable going crazy. That card shot up in price and is really, really valuable, and heaps of people have been talking about it. So I'm really not surprised that the Houndour is now moving up as well. I could potentially see this going a little bit higher, maybe up to a $20 card, even pushing 25 potentially, but I don't see it getting too much higher than that. It's super cute though. It's definitely cool with like the sleeping Houndour here. They're just puppies, you know, like they're really cute. And I think anyone that looks at those cutesy cards for their collection, this is one that they might potentially look to add as well. Next up is the Execute from Surging Sparks. This one was, you know, about a month ago, $5.30. Now looking at $11.55. So pretty much 100% gain on this one in the last couple of weeks. I'd say in the last probably month and a half, this one has doubled in price, which is cool. I don't like Execute as a Pokemon. I know it's an original 151 and things like that, but to me, it's just not an interesting Pokemon, and I always kind of ignored it growing up. When I was playing the games or collecting cards or whatever, I just didn't like Execute. I don't know what's backing the rise of this card. Again, maybe just people like the artwork and it's just not my thing. But again, like I mentioned, this is where their list ends. So it was like 4 prismatic cards and then like 2 random illustration rares. Like it was kind of a lazy list this week. So I have added in 4 extra cards for you guys to check out just to make up for, I guess, their list being a little bit short. The first one is the Applin from Twilight Masquerade. This one has grown 190% in what seems like the blink of an eye. This was $4.79 last week. So in the last week, it has gone from $4.79 to $11, and it's seen a huge spike. So I can probably see this continuing to rise in the sort of immediate future. So if you have these, or you were able to cop a couple of these at a cheaper price like the $4 it was previously, good for you. It might be worth getting a couple of these, but again, we're starting to see it spike now. So you've got to be quick if you are going to grab this one. The next one is the Infernape, a little bit of a slower rise. Again, this one from Twilight Masquerade, but you know, about a month ago, this was $9.60. Now it's $18.09. So it's pretty much doubled in price as well. Market is $17.68. I love this artwork. I think this is awesome. It's one of the cooler fire Pokemon artworks that we have at the moment. I don't think there's too many that are out in the Scarlet Violet era that I really, really like besides this. And probably the Ninetales from Obsidian Flames as well are probably my 2 favorite fire cards right now. But I've always thought this is undervalued. I've said this to you guys tons of times on the channel before. Back here, I thought it was undervalued. So it's really nice to see it getting the appreciation that it deserves. Speaking of fire types, the Growlithe, or I guess the Hisuian Growlithe, this one's seen 162% growth in the last 3 months. Bulk of that coming in the last month, going from like $10.80 up to $20.80. It's sitting at $21 for the market price. And again, this one is super cute. Those of you that don't know, this does pair with the trainer that is in, I think it's in the same set or potentially in another set. But again, it's one of those artworks that is connecting with another card. So we've seen some of these in the past start to rise, and this one's no different. Plus, Growlithe, again, is super cute, and it's a cool photo, I guess a cool artwork of the trainer taking a photo of the Growlithe as well, which again is really adorable and I really like personally. So this one's gone up. And then finally, this one just stuck out to me. It's the Lucario promo card from the Crown Zenith ETB. And the reason this sticks out to me is because I actually just opened a Crown Zenith ETB, which you guys would have seen on the channel. And I obviously got this promo card inside, and I just had a quick look at sort of what the market value was on it. And I saw something crazy, which is the fact that it has gone up 316% in the last 3 months. So 3 months ago, this was $1.29 and it's now sitting at $6.20. About a month ago, if we go back a month roughly to the date here, it was $2.20. So it's basically almost tripled in the last, month, which is wild to me. So again, keep an eye on these promo cards. I know it's not a stamped promo or anything crazy like that, like we get with the Scarlet Violet sets. But again, just for a regular promo card that people probably have 10, 15 of if they've opened a bunch of ETBs, or if they really saw the potential in the artwork and they bought a stack of these on eBay at any point, this is really starting to rise right now. So there's another one that you can potentially look to make some gains on. I don't see it going like way high like the stamped promos do, but again, this is already up 300%. What's to stop it going up a little bit more? But it is currently on a dip, so that's worth noting as well. And there's, been quite a few sold over the last few weeks. Even the last couple of days, 298 units sold in the last 2 to 3 days. So still selling at a pretty high clip, but again, just dropping a little bit in value in the last day. But with that said, that's everything for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, make sure to subscribe for future giveaways and extra channel content that is coming in the future, because we will also be setting up channel memberships very soon for some exclusive content for those of you that want that. But again, like I said, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you guys next time.